Welcome back to the Click Wars podcast. It's me and your man, Jamie IF. How's it going, brother?
Very good, very good. We spoke to Kasra today. We know Kasra. We've met him a couple of times before. I've seen him around. We've seen him end up in the same SEO events and stuff. Really interesting guy. Works closely with James Dooley and a few other well-known people in SEO. I think he's not. I mean, I know he's done Brighton SEO, which is like the white hat place and stuff. And credit to him for getting on the billing there. I don't know how he finessed that one after his reputation before then, but well done. But he's obviously known as being someone who'll flaunt the rules a little bit in the sort of more black hat space. And so it was interesting to talk with him about that, but also about the more white hat tendencies that he's been exploring at the moment as he seeks to legitimize brands to sell them at the premium sort of like non-PBN multiple. The way to position those, content quality and things that more like of the people that toe the line more are going on about more. So it was an interesting one. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this because we went all over the shop with this one.
Yeah, he did some examples and stuff as well, which is super cool. Like we took little bits of up the gains and other niches and how he would link build in those areas and what he would look to do. So I found that really interesting because it was a completely different approach to what perhaps I would have expected. So yeah, I think people are going to get a lot of value from this one. But let's get started on the Click Wars podcast. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of Click Wars. We're back, and we've got probably the youngest guest we've had on so far. I think are you 25 or so? I think we've got one of the fastest growing YouTubers on the platform, known for a few different parts of SEO. We'll get into each one of them in a second. He's on every podcast now, so he obviously had to grace us with his presence. Welcome, Kasra, to the 20th podcast of the week. I don't know how you fit them all in your day.
Cheers for having me on. It's probably like the fourth podcast this week, mixed between like ones that I do, ones that I'm on and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks for having me on. And I'm 26, by the way.
26. Oh, it was your birthday in Thailand. We won't get into that story.
No, yeah, let's not.
I've heard some serious stories, man.
Yeah, it got a bit wild.
I'm sorry, but I could see it happening from like 5 p.m. in the hotel. I could just kind of tell where it was going from there.
Yeah, it was definitely one for others to remember. I don't remember anything.
Oh, that was good though. I enjoyed Thailand a lot. I wish I had like kept it more together because like I went out every night, and so I just died halfway through like the week, and so like I was like not on it that much for like the first like Wednesday, Thursday, and then like came back for the Friday. But like I'd have got more out of it if I'd paced myself better. Anyways, on to the main stuff. I'd say that the main two things that I know you for are the local rank and rent stuff, and then like casino-y sort of stuff, is like which obviously the links and that feed into.
Yeah.
What if like I would say that you would consider yourself more of a link guy than a content guy, and so like just to straight off, you've got a high value affiliate post. It's in about 6th position on Google, and you want to boost it up based on what you know and what you've tested across all the different niches that you worked on. And I know you've worked on so many hundreds of different niches and SERPs and stuff like that. What are you going for to boost that post up safely so it doesn't get hit in the future, but to get it consistently with high likelihood of ROI up to 1st, 2nd, 3rd position?
Oh, that's a really good question. And I don't think that there's one answer for that. And I feel like if anyone was to give you one answer, I'd be shaking my head right now. So I've got experience in a lot of different industries. So like, for example, gambling, you're probably looking at more so topical authority. You're probably looking at more so links, right? But let's say, for example, if you're in a little bit more of a spammier industry, like the crypto or potentially porn adult industries, you're probably looking at more so CTR based. And again, if it's something visual, like a home improvement type website where you're trying to rank for, I don't know, best curtains or something like that, you might need better imagery on the actual website as well. So making certain that your images are unique. So SEO isn't just a one size fits all. And then again, that's just the top. That's just like 3 different websites. We could delve into like, let's say, local SEO, and local SEO is a completely different ballgame. You might be looking at citations. You might be looking at reviews for your GMB as well. So again, it differentiates based on who you are, what you're trying to rank, what niche you're in, and what type of website you're also in as well.
Should we do like a live example then? I suppose, like, obviously everyone knows I've got a finance site. So what would you do in, say, a finance niche to boost up an affiliate post?
Finance niches are, do you know what? Finance and gambling, I typically look at hand in hand. It is mainly down to like how authoritativeness you are. What's your EAT like? Have you got any branded mentions? And then also the links as well. Like the links is super important. As you know yourself, links in the finance industry, they're expensive. Website owners and blog owners know that they can charge a pretty penny for guys like yourself, and same with guys like us. Gambling, it's like 6 times the link cost in some cases. So yeah, I would say links. Potentially, you could even play around with CTR as well. CTR manipulation. You need to be a little bit careful. Like we've got. We do a lot of testing on CTR, and we see some really good results. But that being said, if you're just using, for example, the tools that everyone has access to, you're going to burn your website very, very quickly.
Nice. That's another question I had on there. We may as well get right to that. So I think that most people know at this point what CTR manipulation is and the basics of what it involves. But you say that the off-the-shelf stuff, you might have a boost, but there's a risk, and when you get hit, you get hard. And so what my understanding is that it's kind of like crack, in that like you get on it, you kind of got to stay on it, because if you, or like wean yourself down, because if you don't, you can. This is what I understand it to be, like raise suspicions. How do you do CTR manipulation?
Not necessarily. So there's always a calculation, and so what a lot of people are trained to do is what you've just said, Jamie, where they're like, right, you go on it, you stay on it, and that's it, right? And it's like, well, that's a really expensive way. That racks up bills very, very quickly.
That's what I mean.
But if you think of it like this, right? Let's say you're in position 10 and you know that positions 1, 2, let's say position 1 gets 100 clicks, right? And you're in position 10 and let's say you're getting 5 clicks a month. You need to essentially figure out, like we've got a calculator that does it in-house. And it basically finds the difference between you and positions like 1, 2, and 3, which are ultimately the 3 positions that do get clicks. And then you also need to taper off the amount of clicks. So let's say you're in position 10 right now and you're like, right, the calculations tell me I need to do 80 clicks, or let's say 5 more clicks to get up to position 7, let's say. But you also need to factor in that you're also going to get naturally more clicks when you're in position 7. So you always need to bear that in mind when you are doing the calculations, which that's where a lot of people get messed up on, where they're like, right, okay, position 1's getting 100 clicks, I'm getting 5 clicks, let's do 95 clicks. And it's like, whoa. Now you're getting 200 and 200 clicks, 100 actual genuine clicks, 100 manipulated clicks. So you need to bear certain things like that in mind as well. If I'm being honest with you, I wouldn't recommend it for anybody that's starting out in SEO. I wouldn't. It's first of all, the setup itself, super expensive. You need to get 3G, 4G, and 5G proxies. You need residential proxies. You then need to figure out a way to essentially mix up the IPs, so you're not using the same IP when you're doing CTR manipulation. And you need a lot of different IPs as well. So I think we've got about a bank of 3,500 3G, 4G, and 5G proxies, and probably about 5,000 residential proxies as well.
So like 20 grand a month or something, right?
It's not cheap at all. Not cheap at all. I don't know the full billing, but it's not a cheap operation.
Yeah, fair. Like literally, I'm pretty new to the proxy stuff because we run a bunch now for just like Reddit botnets and stuff. But like I'm sure you've got discounts on huge scale versus like just getting a few. But even like my cost of paying like $350 a month, that's it'd be like 25 grand a month for you.
Yeah, it's not a cheap operation. So unless you're looking to either sell it as a service or you might have a profitable industry that you're in, don't do it.
When you're deciding the ROI and stuff like that, how do you gauge? All right, because you say it's not for beginners. How do you gauge? All right, now it's worth it. Whereas for some things it might not be.
I mean, if you're selling like cucumber slicers, right, where you're getting paid off of Amazon and it's a one-off, it's probably not going to be worth it. If you have a product, it's definitely worth it. If potentially you might be doing affiliate for some form of like reoccurring subscription type base, and you might be getting £500 a month or £60 a month or something like that. It's probably worth it. It's probably worth doing it for something like that. But if you're just an Amazon affiliate site, probably not worth doing.
And you mentioned that we didn't really go into the weaning off of it if you did want to get clean. How would you do that in a way that doesn't have repercussions, or like how would you engineer that?
You need to make it look as naturally as possible without giving the full formula away. As soon as they're really harsh with CTR manipulations, because if you picture this, right, Google click fraud is probably one of Google's biggest expenditures outside of crawling. So if Google sees that you're doing anything dodgy, you're done. So you almost need to play it too safe when you're doing CTR manipulation. Again, I don't want any of us to be held responsible for anybody that goes out and listens to this and they're like, right, okay, I'm going to go and do CTR manipulation. Just go and hire somebody to do it. If you are looking to do it, don't do it yourself, because first of all, it's an expensive setup. Second of all, the formula, you're probably going to mess up and you're going to destroy your website even further. And it just takes a lot of brain power to do it.
Do you sell this as a service then for clients?
For certain people, not for everyone.
Interesting. And so, overall though, if you were actually, let's just forget CTR for a second, go back to it. So let's say SAMMIE's got an investing apps article that's in 6th place. For something like that, you want to obviously not put any risks at all, but you've got budget, you're doing well, it's a profitable keyword. What kinds of links would you be looking to that particular type of article to try and go, all right, we can push this up here? And how would you try and quantify ROI on something like that? Because there's a lot of other people listening to this who want to know, okay, I'm starting to be competitive. How do I measure ROI, and what kinds of things should I be looking at for link building for affiliate?
So when it comes to like link building, I feel like a lot of people get this messed up, where they might be thinking, right, okay, I need DR65 that's in finance, that's also in the UK, that's this, that's that. They've got all these different factors in place. Don't get me wrong, that one website that you do find that does check all of those things off, brilliant, go and get that. But that might be like, let's say, a £750, £800 link, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like a 10 out of 10 link. But what you also need to remember is, if you're a lawn mowing company that's selling, a lawnmower affiliate, right, that's selling lawnmowers, and you're in the UK, how many lawnmower relevant websites that does get high traffic, that does get high DR? Is there? Probably there's a handful, right? Yeah. There's a handful. And again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't get those, because those are probably the first links that I would get. But once you've exhausted that list, you need to lower your standards. So, for example, I would then start looking at, okay, right, let's say Sammie's website it's got 100 referring domains, and his 3 biggest competitors are Martin Lewis and Financial Times or whatever else websites are in that industry. I would be looking at the common links that they have. So say, for example, if Martin Lewis and Jamie's financewebsite.com have a link from kasradash.com, right, I'd be looking to get that link, because what Google's telling me is that from a not from a tiered link, but from the link graph point of view, that link's super important. And even if the Kasra Dash website, the guest post website, has low DR, it might not have the perfect traffic, but it might be super relevant. Or what you might find is that, okay, Kasra Dash is a high DR website. It might be like a DR50 or a DR60, but it's not as relevant. So it's not got that many lawnmower related articles. It might be talking a little bit about everything. But from the data that Google's telling me, and from the data that I'm seeing on Ahrefs and SEMrush and Majestic and whatever else, I know that website's actually going to push the needle. Again, one thing that I feel like everyone needs to know as well is, you look at your competitors sometimes, right? And this, especially in some some of the newer guys, this will probably resonate to. They'll probably be looking at some of the websites and they're like, oh my God, this website over here, my biggest competitor has 700 referring domains, and the second guy has 500 referring domains, and the third guy has 300. Does that mean I need, let's say, an average of 500 referring domains? Probably not. There's a lot of noisy links that I could call them, where they're not pushing the needle. So you need to essentially eliminate the noise and go after the ones that are pushing the needle. And to be honest with you, I think I reckon that every website, or a lot of websites that I see nowadays, I'd probably say 30-40% of the entire backlink profile is actually pushing the needle. It's not the entire backlink profile. There is a lot of spammy links. There is a lot of toxic links. There's a lot of noisy links that ain't doing much. They're just kind of there. And in some cases, they will be like the high DR websites where you look at it and you're like, oh, this link's really good. But then you look at that exact same link and it's like, nah, they're not ranking because of that one link. They're ranking because of these 10 links over here.
Mm-hmm. And how
I heard you talking about, Jay, I was just going to say, I heard you talking about disavows quite a lot on a few podcasts that I listened to recently with you on. And I know you offer it as a service, and a lot of big websites do it, and absolutely they should, because the bigger websites naturally get more of a spammier link profile. But for the mid-tier guys like myself, and the people that are just kind of knocking out 50 to 250k a month views or something like that, how important is a disavow service, and do you think people should be paying more attention to it than they currently are?
Yeah, definitely. Again, a really good question. I said this in my speak in Thailand and also in Estonia. A lot of people leave a disavow too late. And again, this probably sounds like a glossy sales pitch, like, oh, you need to disavow, da 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 da. It's not, right? It's all the best way that I can describe it is, would you, Sammy, put fuel in your car before you've ran out of fuel? Or would you wait until you're on the motorway, run out of fuel, and then say, I need to walk 15 minutes that way to go and get fuel and then come back and fuel up my car? It's kind of like take the antidote before the poison type thing, right? It's
gotcha.
just
immunity, isn't it?
Exactly. It's like, just try and be healthy across all cases. Like, for example, right now I'm preaching a lot on content pruning, right? If you guys had been listening to me 8 months ago, you probably would have heard me talking about content pruning a lot prior to the helpful content update. So just try and keep your website healthy. And again, some SEOs, they're like, no, I've got the best backlinks. No, they're amazing. It's like, well, the toxic links aren't the ones that are getting picked up on Ahrefs and SEMrush. They're probably the ones that are getting picked up on tools like LRT, Majestic, your Google Search Console, free tools that probably nobody even looks at nowadays. Or well, obviously Google Search Console people would look at, but they're not looking at the inbound links through to their website. Again, just taking a look at stuff like that. SEMrush is like, SEMrush probably hate me by now, but the SEMrush tool, it's a brilliant tool, don't get me wrong, but I'd never use it for a disavow, but mainly because it's so flawed with how it calculates the spam score of a website. So like what one of the scenarios is, if you have a link from a website that's in the footer, that's deemed as a spammy link on SEMrush, based off of how they calculate it. So like, for example, Sammy, you're in the finance industry. You might need to link out to the FCA, right? FCA is a massive corporation. And if the FCA were to go and do a disavow based off of what SEMrush tell them, they would need to disavow your website because it's deemed as a spammy website, because you've got the link to the FCA, which is the UK Finance Board regulation. They would say, no, Sammy's website's spammy. And it's like, well, that's definitely not the case. So you always need to bear in mind, like, the data or the output that SEMrush give you. Again, SEMrush isn't a disavow tool. They just have a disavow platform or the spam score metric and on their tool. It was never built for disavows. It was mainly built for keyword research and link data.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about which links work, which ones don't, a lot of people talk about Wikipedia links. What do you think about them and whether they move the needle?
They're good. They build a lot of trust. Really good for EAT. Don't just look at Wikipedia. I actually done a video on this. There's different Wikipedias. I don't know the full list. There's a video on my channel. Go and check it out. But there's a list of Wikipedias on Wikipedia that are like, I think one of them's like Wikidata. There's a whole bunch of them.
Wikimedia.
Yeah, all of them. If you can get links off of them as well, really good links. So don't just look at that. And again, from a trust point of view, I'd highly recommend it. Because again, getting a link from Wikipedia ain't the easiest thing to do. I know that WikiWoki sell Wikipedia links. They're pretty decent. They do have a little bit of a long turnaround time, but again, it's the times where they have
at times as well.
Yeah, it's but the thing is, like, I've probably ordered about 60 Wikipedia links from them over the past like 8 months or so. Pretty spot on. They are a little bit delayed, but again, it's down to the fact that think of how hard it is to place a link on Wikipedia. If any of us done it in this call right now, we'd probably get our Wikipedia accounts shut down within 24, 48 hours.
Yeah. Same with Wikidata. I tried to get all my own stuff in there and it stayed up for about a month and then got hit. But there's a person on Legit who'll do it for you to get around the rules about submitting yourself.
Yeah.
Also, Worldwide Backlinks did good Wikipedia stuff for me. So shout out to them as well. Yeah, that's interesting. So when let's say you've got a site with 2 Wikipedia links, is it a case of ticking it off the list and you've got a base level authority, or would you keep building those in the same way you'd build other links to try and keep scaling up? Or is it just a case of a box ticking exercise?
Listen, when it comes to link building, we're SEOs. Google hates us, right? Everyone, John Mueller's probably watching this and they're like, oh, these 3 guys, listen to them talking about building links, right? You need to make it look as natural as possible, right? So if that means that you need to go and acquire 12 links over the next 6 years, do it. If your competitors are doing it, do it. I'm not going to say you need free Wikipedia links, because that's probably not the case. In some cases, you might not even need any, right? But as an EAT point of view, if you want to improve your EAT, go and do that. Again, there's not like a set number where I could say to you, right, Jamie, you need 4, SAMMIE, you need 5, because it's not the case. You need what you need. And then again, it comes down to guest posts and niche edits. Like, there's not like a one size fits all. That's one thing that annoys me about a lot of like Twitter SEO, where it's like you'll see a post and it's like, oh, you don't need links, and it's like, well, if, say for example, I got hired as the head SEO of Yell, I probably wouldn't need links, right? But say, for example, if I'm trying to set up a finance website like SAMMIE is right now, I probably do need links. So it's 2 completely different SEO strategies.
Definitely
links. But with Wikipedia being, I believe they're no follow, and like, is it like I don't think anyone thinks that, oh, I got a Wikipedia link, now I'm going to boost a particular article to #1. It's more seen as like a base level of authority. So like, I fully understand what you mean on the, like, there's no set time, but for those, like, is there, like, have you, based on all the 60 or whatever links you're building for clients or your own sites, do you see marginal gains, or is it just 0 to 1 and then we're all good?
So the reason why we do it is that, first of all, it establishes trust. It's not one thing that's going to set the world on fire. Like, you're not going to get a Wikipedia link. If you're watching this thinking you're going to get a Wikipedia link and you're going to jump up to position 1, stop watching this podcast, because this ain't for you, right? But it's not like something that's going to set the world on fire. Do not get me wrong. It's more so like right, okay, I've got that. Now what's next? And then in 3 months' time, right? Like one of the videos that I've recently done is keyword research is dead, and we'll definitely probably cover this, right? But it's the reason why I say that is because you're more so trying to focus on one topic. Like, SAMMIE, I've seen your website, right? You're right now focusing on investment, but then you could also be talking about like crypto advice next month or in 6 months' time or something like that, right? Because it's still deemed as investment. And then let's say in a year's time, you might be talking about property investment, because again, it's talking about investment. Now, I almost look at your website there as 3 different websites. I see the investment side of you where you're talking about like ISAs and stuff like that. I see the crypto side of you where you're talking about Bitcoin, which NFTs to invest in, whatever else. And then I see another website where it's talking about properties, right? Now, if we want to get really granular, Jamie, you could be building 3 Wikipedia links, or you could be building 6 Wikipedia links to each one of those mini websites that Sammie's got. So it's very much down to how big you want to scale your website, and also what your competitors are doing as well. Again, one thing that I'm a massive advocate of is unlinked mentions. I feel like not many people get that. Like literally, and again, a lot of SEOs are probably listening to this and are like, well, that's BS. Go and test it out if you don't believe me. Unlinked mentions help with EEAT. How many times is Elon Musk or SpaceX or Tesla mentioned without linking back to the SpaceX or the Elon Musk website? Again, it's just natural for a website to have unlinked mentions across the web. Like, for example, you can go and look at IBM. IBM's a monster website. Go and look at the amount of websites that mention IBM. And I can guarantee you there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, potentially even millions of websites that mention IBM. I don't know, IBM stock news. They don't link back to IBM. They're just mentioning the brand.
So what I'm gathering from this, man, is like, you know, if you're listening to this and you're wondering about link building, a lot of people, most SEOs are at all times. Really, all you should be aiming for is a good selection of links, mentions, unlinked mentions, basically building out what is there's as natural a link profile as you possibly can, whether that's guest posts, niche edits, Wikipedia links, unlinked mentions. All of these things will factor in together, and doing it at the right time and the right amounts as you would normally see, i.e. like a more of a linear approach, like as your website grows, then that feels like the way to go. Am I on the right track with that?
Yeah, definitely. Like one thing that everyone needs to understand is we're SEOs. We manipulate the search engine, right? So you just need to make your off-page SEO look as natural as possible. Like if you were to go and build, let's say 40 PBNs, right? That's the equivalent of doing like really high keyword density articles, right? It's not natural, is it? So just, again, I'm not saying PBNs don't work, but
that's my next
maybe...
question.
Yeah,
maybe do some PBNs. Yeah, go on, Jamie. What's your next question?
So another one. Well, I was gonna find a way to sort of segue into it. But so how do you, when you're running PBNs, run them safely? And like, what would make you go, I am or I'm not gonna go there, or how widely you do with it? And do you think they work in all niches or only certain? How would like? I think a lot of people are interested because I feel like it's a bit of a black box to a lot of people, and so this is a thing that a lot of people find mysterious and whatever.
So, all right, let me give an explanation to what a PBN is, and then we'll deep dive into where you should use it and where you shouldn't. Basically, a PBN is a private blog network. It is a website that is owned by yourself, or potentially you might be buying it from a vendor, and you're hosting it. And you're basically getting a link off of the homepage, which typically speaking, I'd probably want to say that 99% of the entire internet, the homepage of a website is the most powerful page, because ultimately you're getting the most amount of links through to that page, right? Do we all agree with the definition of a PBN? Yeah. So when you're getting a bit granular with PBNs, is like you need to make certain that there's no footprints. So again, a PBN is like a black hat SEO method, and that's what a lot of people see it as. Mainly because obviously I own the website. So if SAMMIE was to come along and try and like outreach to me saying, hey, can I get a link? I'd probably say no, because I'm not even going to reply, right? So I'm basically funneling all the link juice from all these PBNs through to my main money website. But there's a lot of ins and outs to PBNs. You need to make certain that, for example, they're on different registrars, different hosting, different IPs, they're using different themes. You're trying to make these websites, guess what, look as natural as they possibly can. So that's the ultimate goal with PBNs. Now, do I use them? I have used them in the past. I don't use them anymore, mainly because in the gambling space, we're actually in the process of selling one of our websites, and if, say, for example, if I'm trying to sell one of you guys a website, right? What would you guys prefer, right? Would you rather prefer me giving you a website, just a domain, and giving you the hosting and like, let's say the 20, 30 affiliate accounts, or would you rather me giving you the hosting, the affiliate accounts, the domain? I'll give that to you, and I'll also give you access to 200 PBNs, which you need to make certain that you're renewing the domains every year, paying for the monthly hosting every month, and making certain that there's no footprints. What would you guys prefer?
Yeah, you price it on time and risk, and I want to minimize risk and minimize my time.
Exactly. So we actually spoke to a guy a few years ago now, and basically said, guys, if you're doing any dodgy stuff, don't, because at the end of the year, or when you guys do end up selling the websites, you're probably looking at, let's say, a $3 million valuation with a clean website, everything done correctly, as opposed to like a $1.4 million valuation. So you're half in your sell price, and we're like, right, okay, yeah, it's probably not worth doing the PBNs. So that's why we don't use PBNs. Does that mean they don't work? No, they definitely do work. We're just taking a little bit more of a whiter hat approach to it. If anybody's listening and they want to go and set up a PBN network, I recommend doing it yourself, because again, if you're going through a vendor and stuff like that, again, there's some really great vendors out there. You just need to go through a lot of bad ones to find some really great ones. But one thing you need to worry about is, from a PBN point of view, from a vendor point of view that's selling PBNs, they might be selling that PBN to 25 different people, and you don't know what they're doing on their websites. You might be the clean guy, but let's say Jamie goes and does something dodgy on his website, and the same PBN's linking to my website and also Jamie's website. You've not got that much control. So again, call me control freak Kaz, but I just want to be able to control what's going on the PBN, who's on the PBN, etc. So yeah, again, just making PBNs look as natural as possible is probably the biggest thing.
Can you get away with more on local with, I guess, CTR, PBNs, the rest of it?
Yeah. You can get away with a lot more. Like there's a lot more websites I see in local, especially in America, that use a lot more PBNs. And I know that there's like guys like Chris Palmer and stuff. They do a lot on CTR for like GMBs. Yeah, you can get away with a lot more. But again, that's not to say that it's the right thing to do. Because again, some of the guys that I have seen doing PBNs and stuff, and CTR manipulation, you see some of the posts on Facebook groups, and their GMB's ranked position 1, and then you look at the GMB 10 days later and it's just dropped massive. Yeah. So you need to be careful with all of these strategies. I'm just trying to make everyone aware. I don't recommend any of these. I'm white hat. All I do is content.
with Rank and Rent though, there's a lot of people that say you just do the site. Some are trying to manage to get hold of, by hook or by crook, get hold of the GMBs, GBPs, whatever they call them nowadays. What's your strategy, and how do you like get around it, or like what's your style
for GMBs?
Yeah.
I don't actually do GMBs that much, and I'll tell you a story why, right? And probably about 4 years ago now, I went and bought 10 grand's worth of GMBs. It was the dodgiest way to get them. I was like, I need GMBs. I need them in my life. Went and got 10 grand's worth of GMBs. It was probably about 100. I want to say it was between 150 to 200 GMBs total that I got, right? A lot of GMBs. And you get the Google sheet with all the login details, and you're like getting excited. And then you're like, right, I need to figure out how to rank them at mass. So started doing some CTR manipulation, started doing some links, etc., citations, whatever else. And probably about 3 months go by, and about out of the 180, I want to say like 90% of them got taken down.
At the same time?
Within like the space of 2-3 weeks, yeah. So I don't dabble in GMBs. I've had a bad experience. we probably have about 60 GMBs, but we do it the right way. Like we actually send the postcard out to the business owner. Yeah, legit business, trying to run things legit way. But again, like a lot of people would be listening to this and be like, you spent 10 grand and you've lost it up here or whatever else. And it's like, well, I learned a very valuable lesson there, because that 10 grand could have been 500 grand, and it could have been on an affiliate website or something bigger scale. Do you know what I mean? So I'd rather lose 10 and learn that from a mistake and move on and figure out, right, okay, I can't do the spammy method where it's like hijacking a GMB or whatever else. There are ways of getting them. Don't get me wrong. Do I want to go and do that again? Probably not. I just, it's not worth my time. It's not worth my team's time. Again, think like we're looking at high level numbers here, like 10 grand, but then think of the amount of links that we spent on those 180 GMBs. Think of the staff time, think of the citations costs, think of the CTR manipulation. Probably lost about 50 grand just by doing a silly mistake. So I'd rather just not do GMB, like quick wins. I don't like quick win SEO.
Seems like you're a Renaissance guy, bro. Like you're coming back from the dark side a little bit. You're kind of moving into the white hat realm now, no?
You need. So how I explain it is, you need to find the fine line where it's like, this is white hat, this is black hat. I'm going to be in between. I'm going to literally be right in the middle of both, and I'm just going to dance along the line. Do you know what? There's not a one, like going back to what I was saying before, there is not a one size fits all strategy. So if, say, for example, somebody comes to me tomorrow and says, I want to rank for a load of porn related keywords, I'd be like, right, we need to load up the black hat strategy route, because I know, we all know, for example, porn ain't easy to rank. You're going to need to do CTR manipulation. You're going to need to do PBNs. But then if somebody comes to me and they say, I've got a window repair company, and I'm like, right, okay, well, we can stick to white hat SEO. We can do a load of citations. We can do a load of guest posts, niche edits, and you'll probably rank. You don't need to load up the RPG and the machine gun and all that. It's like, take it easy on that guy.
Fair. And I'm going to switch a little bit. We've gone to a lot of different like sub niches here. I mean, you do a fair few of them, to be fair. We're going knowledge panels and stuff like that. So when we were in Birmingham, you showed, look, we've got, and how you did it with knowledge panels. From what I could quickly tell, that was mainly forged off LinkedIn, a personal brand, IMDb, a fat rank profile, Twitter. Is there any other really important ones for anyone wanting to carve their reputation?
There is.
I'm assuming IMDb was the main one, though. Just a guess.
No, you know what? I had the knowledge panel before. I had IMDb.
Interesting.
There's Crunchbase.
Yeah.
There's Wikidata. If you can get listed on those. If you have deep pockets, if you can get listed on the Independent, if you can get listed on the Daily Mail, there will be a blast very soon. I'm sure I'll probably be bragging about it on X, where I will be getting listed on like the main websites like the Independent and stuff like that.
How much does that cost?
Too much. Probably about 5K, 6K.
Each one?
5K. No, so you get coverage. It's not per link. So if, say, for example, SAMMIE came along and, I don't know, they saved a kitten out of a burning building, right? And it went viral, right? And Lad Pipe picked up and all sorts of other stuff. You're probably going to get a decent amount of coverage. You might get 10, 15 different websites speaking about you. And it's not like the Harrow stuff either. It's a dedicated page talking about SAMMIE. So yeah, it's very, very different. If you guys can do that, it helps massively with offer rank.
Mate, it's mad.
And building the
So I thought you meant that you'd have your own author profile on those newspapers so that you could reference that as another instance. But you mean an article dedicated to something you've done that you can then use as notoriety for Wikidata and then get yourself the knowledge panel.
Exactly that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I'm surprised that IMDb didn't work. 'Cause I've heard a lot of the people triggering them from like I think it was the SEO Jesus guy that was saying that you can get executive producer credits off Kickstarter and use that to do it. So I thought that was clever.
Yeah, there's a lot
That's
of
very
clever
clever.
little hacks. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Craig Campbell's talk recently, but he was obviously in like a TV show. I think it was on like Amazon Prime and stuff. And obviously, like
I saw
he
this. Yeah.
basically he says like, look at Star Wars. They had one director, right, and then this Crime Lord series had like 65 directors, right, and it was all just SEOs. It was like, I don't know, like Clint Butler, I think, might have been on it. Craig was on it. Just everyone. It's like they ain't directors; they're just SEOs. But yeah, you can do some really cool stuff with IMDb.
I heard that it's really difficult to get a knowledge panel if you list yourself and self-identify as a marketer or SEO, because
That's
there's
true.
people trying to stop that kind of abuse of the knowledge graph. So how do you get around it? Do you say you're an entrepreneur, like film producer? What did you have to do, or what do you recommend other people do to get that?
So mine's didn't have a category, but a lot of my bio descriptions said that it is entrepreneur. And that's how I got it. I think Neil Patel says that he's a writer. I don't know, Brian Dean, sorry. His is I think it's like owner of Backlinko. So Backlinko has a knowledge panel, so then it ties into that. So that's the ultimate goal. You want to be your brand wants a knowledge panel. So like, for example, Up the Gains, and then SAMMIE, like the owner of Up the Gains or the founder of Up the Gains, that's the ultimate goal that you want, basically. And that's the basically the E80, the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I've not got there yet, man. It's weird. It's so weird. It like loaded up for a couple of months and then it's just disappeared again. But I'll get there.
Yeah.
Let's go talk about helpful content for a second, and then I'm not sure what else you want to do after that, Sammy. But I've got a few YouTube things after that. But if we go HCU,
I'm all YouTube, baby. So
all right.
yeah,
We'll get HCU out of the way first, and then we'll get to the stuff on YouTube. Some bad news sites got hit, and some good ones got hit as well. What would you say to the owners? Forget about the bad ones. What would you say about the owners of at least what they believe to be good sites? What can they do to change? Because I'm saying this not from the view that content quality is the be all and end all, and so not improve your content whatever else. But what do you have to do to improve your content in the eyes of a signal-based algorithm and what they're looking for right now?
So going back to what I was saying before, right? I feel like a lot of SEOs chase after keyword research and search volume. And to be honest, I'm guilty of this before. Like I'll look at a keyword and on Ahrefs, it's 500 searches a month, 0 keyword difficulty, and you're all you're seeing is just money signs, right? But what I am a firm believer in now is topical research. So have you first of all covered the topic in its entirety? Did you first of all have the actual authority to rank for that keyword? Because hey, I'll be honest with you guys, it's really easy to rank for a keyword that you don't deserve to rank in or to rank for if your website is on an upward trajectory. Google essentially sometimes gifts you certain keywords, and it's like, oh wow, I'm position 5 for this keyword. I didn't expect that. Well, if you didn't expect that, you probably didn't deserve to rank for that keyword to begin with. You've essentially just been gifted that keyword. So first of all, making sure you've got topical coverage on certain entities. So for example, if you're an SEO website, don't just go after content, SEO, link building, everything. Focus on, let's say, link building first. Actually cover that entire topic and then move on to, let's say, content and topical maps or what other services you provide as a business. So that's the first of all step. Then the second of all step is making certain that all of your pages are getting some form of clicks and impressions and stuff. So again, I've said this multiple times and I'll probably need to say it until I'm blue in the face. But if, say, for example, you've got 100 pages on your website and let's say 80 of the pages are spot on. Let's say, Sammy, you've went and got Martin Lewis to even write the articles. 10 out of 10 articles, right? 80 of them, amazing. And then the other 20, you've had like a fool like me write them, right? I don't know anything about finance, or well, I know bets. I'm just dragging my way along, and I'm like, right, yeah, there you go, Sammy, here's your 20 articles. Those 20 articles that I have done, because I'm not an expert in finance, or it might not even be that it's to do with the expertise. It might have non-factual content on there, right? Those 20 articles will impact the 80 articles, and it won't be by much. Let's say you drop 5% across 80 pages, right? 5% across 80 it adds up, right?
Yeah.
So making certain that you're focusing on the weaker points of your website, and then one thing that I don't feel like gets enough coverage and enough like talk time is the core update as well, because there was a lot of websites that got hit by the core update, a lot of link related issues, a lot of disavows that were needed after the core algorithm update. So just make certain that you did get hit by the helpful content and not the core. If you got hit by the core, it's again, it kind of does dabble into the helpful content a little bit, but it also, you do need to take a look at your link side of stuff as well, because there was a lot of spammy links that did get essentially penalized.
Kasra, just a quick question on this. You talk about you mentioned covering a topic in its entirety, but then, for example, when we audited together, we got rid of a lot of topics of articles that weren't ranking, that weren't bringing in impressions, weren't bringing in clicks. Obviously, it's dampening the rest of the site. Like, I suppose it's difficult to know then, like how would you then still cover that whole topic if you are then pruning content?
So it's a really good question. One thing that you want to make certain that you're doing is, say for example, some of the pages that you had uploaded, right? They weren't getting any clicks, they weren't getting any impressions, or potentially you might have looked at Ahrefs and you would have thought, oh, this is getting 300 searches a month. You upload it to your website. In reality, there's only 3 people searching for it, or nobody's searching for it. No clicks, no impressions, right? If there's certain pages like that, I probably would get rid of, get off your website. But then what you also need to remember as well is, what's your core actual website about? Is it to do with property investment, or is it to do with crypto investment? Is it to do with ISAs? Because I can guarantee you right now, if I was to load up your website now, there's probably 200 articles that I could probably find very, very quickly. And again, that's not to say that you're doing a bad job, but you might not have thought about all of these different articles. So in some cases, you need to take 2 steps back to take 5 steps forward, type thing. So when we were like removing some of the articles, I believe that there was, it was such a long time ago, but correct me if I'm wrong, there was a lot of subtopics that you'd spoke about that were like, for example, trends that might have been like trendy topics that we removed. Trendy topics, they're not bad for getting like Google discovery traffic and stuff, little like impulses of traffic through to your website. But just bear in mind, if, say, for example, Martin Lewis fell off a bridge 3 years ago and you've wrote about it on your website, someone's probably not searching that now.
Yeah. I think we had like a lot of like, what is type content, and it's like, well, we can just factor those keywords and pull them into other areas of the article, so those keywords still are on the site. And I think that was really helpful. And then we pruned. I think I pruned like 80 articles in the end over.
Yeah, sorry, that's what it was as well with your website. So for anybody listening, do you know what? It was like 3 months ago now. I barely remember what I'd done last week, but about 3 or 4 months ago, we had a consult call, me and Sammy, and there was a load of articles that I basically started looking at, and I said, do you not think that this, like you had basically done sniper content, which would have been income skills strategy?
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say it's a bad strategy, because in some cases you can do a lot of damage. Like you can essentially snipe out a lot of featured snippets doing that. But I remember specifically looking at your website and I said, Sammy, do you not think that this 6,000 word article can be answered on a 200, let's say, a paragraph on this page over here? So we ended up actually moving. It was kind of like shifting around the content. We delete this one page, but we added that H2 or that H1 on as a H2 on this page over here. I do actually remember that now.
It's helped massively. massively helped. The whole pruning thing, it's brought up at the whole site. Like everything's a lot more stable now. All of the articles that should have been ranking that were the ones that we were actually focused for seem to come up, and the keywords that we're lucky to have disappeared. So I'm kind of happy with that, because it's like where we should be, and now it's about taking this step back and like really pushing it on. So no, definitely. Thank you for that. It's much appreciated.
No worries.
So let's go YouTube. Let's do it. You've been posting every day.
Do you know how many days? Have you done the research?
Well, I had a quick look on the channel. It was like 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days. So I extrapolated a quick bit of mental and assumed it was about one a day.
Yeah, it's one a day. I think I'm on day 45, 46 now.
Of daily?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So how long does it take to research, edit, publish that on your end for each day? Because you've got to do all the other stuff, and you want to make money out of, I mean, obviously this is good for clients and stuff like that, but like you've got ongoing stuff, I presume, as well. How do you structure it all to be able to get it all in? And what's the system for anyone else that wants to post more content?
Less sleep. I don't know about you, Jamie, but I want to walk into a room and everyone to know me. I want that presence about me. Some might call it egotistical. Some might say he's got a hell of a mentality to do that, but that's me, mate. Like literally, I'd be lying to you if I said I'm getting about 5-6 hours worth of sleep every single day. Probably like last night, probably about 4 hours worth of sleep, and I was up recording at 6 a.m. with Julian Goldie. It's not easy, but it's what's needed to be done for me to be satisfied. And some people will look at that and be thinking you're absolutely crazy, but hey, if Julian Goldie can do it, I can do it.
I was going to say Julian's done it, hasn't he?
Yeah, so he's like 300 days. He's a monster. But yeah, from start to finish, it probably takes me about 45 minutes to record and edit it. I've got a thumbnail designer, as you can imagine. I'm not the guy that's doing the thumbnails and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. 45 minutes to 1 hour. Some cases, if it's a longer video, it can be a little bit longer. If it's like for example, I think I uploaded like a 20-minute video at one point, and that probably took me about 30 minutes to record fully, and then like maybe another 30 minutes or 45 minutes to like edit it up and stuff. But it doesn't take that much time off my entire day. In some cases, you do need to plan for the future. So like, for example, I've got a video that I thought I'd have live on Monday. Right now it's Wednesday. Probably won't be live until next week, but again, it's because I'm waiting for the test data to come back, and then I can upload it. Like the last thing that I want is to release something that maybe not gets a lot of backlash, because I like backlash. I kind of steer into like a little bit of drama and stuff now and again. But the last thing I want to be uploading is something that's factually inaccurate, because then it looks bad on me and it looks bad on my team.
Yeah.
That being said, there are quite a few bits of clickbait titles, clickbait thumbnails, but hey, everyone has to do that. Like,
but that's not factually incorrect, though. That's just like marketing. As long like your reputation's on the line if you say something that's like provably false. Like
there are a lot of SEO tools that I have had to turn down because they're offering me money, and I'm like, listen, guys, your tool's shocking. I'm not putting this out to my audience. I don't want to use it, so my audience ain't using it. Like so many tools, so many, and they're offering decent money as well, but need to turn them down.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What's the plan then? What's the next phase of this? Because you're going to be doing this. What's the goal of it? Is it searcheroo? Is it what is the what's the end goal?
I want to be known as a household name in the industry. I want to be known as like a Matt Diggity, maybe not a Neil Patel, but Matt Diggity, a Nathan Gotch. I want to be known as one of those types of guys, because I feel like with that, I feel like I'd be satisfied. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably get up to that and be like, right, okay, I need to be a motivational speaker now, or something ridiculous. Need to release a book. But yeah, right now I'm just trying to gain as much traction on all my brands like Searcheroo, Backlink Doctor, Auto Blogging, etc. I just want as much eyeballs on me, and the more videos that I can produce, the better.
Yeah. For auto blogging, I met V in Thailand for the first time. Really nice guy.
Yeah.
How did that come about? I believe you bought, and you and James got a bit of that. You got that in there. Like, how does that work? Did you get it for free for promo, or did you have to invest? And what's the plan?
No, we had to invest. I wish I got it for free. That was one of the ones that we had to actually put some money into. Wasn't cheap, but it's funny you mention that, because if you had been speaking to me last year round about this time, yeah, probably about like December last year, I probably would have said that AI content's a load of garbage and I wouldn't ever use it, and it's the devil, right? So for me to do a 180, and by the way, I actually met Vabath in November of 2022. Yeah, 2022. And he basically wanted an investor then. And when me and James were like, nah, we ain't for that. So then maybe like 4 or 5 months go by and we're like, actually, this is a really good tool. Like we started warming up to the idea of AI content and stuff. And we ended up investing in it. So for me to do a 180 and go from, no, I'm never using AI content, to first of all investing in it, and then second of all improving it and actually using it on certain money sites, it does go to show you how good of a tool it is. It's been, I don't know if when the last time you used it, Jamie, or if you've used it, but literally within the past like 3 weeks, it's improved massively. The prompts and stuff like that. Like we've got Scott that has done a load of content courses. Luckily, I don't need to get involved in the content side of stuff because it's not my strong point. I understand it. Like I understand Corey's theories and stuff, but I don't like doing it. I don't like looking at content. I don't like writing content. It's just not my thing. But Scott, on the other hand, he's like really good at content. He's done like all these different SEO courses. He's had private masterminds with Corey and stuff. And based off of like what he's found works best on a lot of our test websites, that's what we've implemented onto auto blogging as prompts. So yeah, it's improved. And again, SaaS is a completely different model. I don't know if any of you guys have invested in SaaS or looking to invest in SaaS, but for the first for the first 4 months, I kept saying to Vabath, like, why are you updating it every day? Like, stop updating it. Like, we don't even do these amount of updates on, for example, like an affiliate website. And he's like, no. If I don't update it, it means that our competitors are 1 step ahead, 2 steps ahead, 10 steps ahead. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that. So yeah, it's been a learning curve, but I'm glad I've done it because it feeds into everything else.
How much of your week now is spent on the SaaS now versus like what's your commitments for it?
Not much. I'll probably go back and forth with Vabath maybe once a week, maybe 5 minutes. It's not much input because I've got the team behind me and the team feeds him the information. A lot of guys think of Kasra Dash as the guy that's like the puppet master in the masterminds on the stage, traveling to all these different countries. I am doing that, don't get me wrong, but it's the team that's feeding the info. Like I'd be nothing without the team.
I'd love to ask that question because, I think, James obviously talks about how, he came across you and you were sort of like a protege of James initially, but like obviously that's changed massively now. And you're in business together on a lot of these things. How does that actually work with James? Because obviously he's like,
do you want the full story? Because I know that this got a little bit of airtime recently. But yeah, like I met James like 4 or 5 years ago now. I was a web developer. I knew bits on technical SEO. Back then it was about keyword density, so you didn't need to know much about content, right? It was brilliant back then. But yeah, I met James in a mastermind, and I reckon within like 5-6 minutes, he offered me a job, right? And I'm looking around like it's the first time I've met guys like Craig, guys like Gary Wilson. First time I've met James, and I'm
How did
looking
you
at
get
Craig.
in that room if you were just a web developer?
I knew bits on SEO, like even at my old SEO agency, I was still managing like 100 websites, like making certain that they're all up and stuff like that. And yeah, there was I very quickly got up to scratch when it came to like local SEO. Local SEO back then, it was literally citations and stuff like that. There was a guy called Tom at the SEO agency, and basically I would do my 9 to 5 doing the web development work at this agency. And then I said to Tom, like, what's this SEO malarkey that you're speaking about? This is a foreign language. I like this. And he said, well, you can manipulate Google to go up higher in rankings. I was like, oh, that's quite cool. So I literally just, I'd do my 9 to 5. I'd go and watch Matt Diggity videos. Daryl Rosser was big at the time then as well. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. So I was watching his videos. I was learning. I was reading blogs, and then very quickly I just got the grasp of like local SEO. I still am pretty decent at local SEO. I'd like to think. So started doing that, and then I started messaging guys like Craig and Gary and stuff. And Gary at the time was really welcoming. He still is now, right? One of my best mates ever. And he basically messaged me saying like, hey, we've got this mastermind in Liverpool. Do you want to come up? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So literally just called in sick. I was like, yeah, I've got diarrhea or whatever. Not coming in today. Drove up to Liverpool that day and met Craig for the first time in person, met Gary for the first time in person, met James for the first time in person. And at the time I was doing like loads of different bits. I was building PBNs and just things that just didn't make me any money. A lot of failures I look at now, or back then I thought they would make me money. But yeah, so like James saw that hustle in me. He was like, well, he's got a 9 to 5. He's built an e-commerce website and he's trying to build out PBNs. So he gets when I say I was just a web developer, I was a pretty advanced web developer / SEO, or at the time I was. I look at myself back then, I'm like, nah, you didn't know anything, mate. But at the time I'd like to think I was out there. So he just saw that, and I understood Screaming Frog, and that was one big thing to him, because I remember he was like, oh, what's this Screaming Frog? Is it a frog that screams type thing? And I'm like, no, it's audits your website. So he basically, like, within 5 minutes, he offered me a job. And I was looking around to Craig and Gary, and I'm like, is he being serious? Like, what's going on here? He's like, no, he's serious. Like, he's at the time he was still super successful. So I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. So handed him a notice, and then for like the first year, 18 months, I was just fixing things for him, learning SEO. He was my weak points were his strong points, and his weak points were my strong points. So he basically put it this way. I walked in on a Monday. It was April 1st, or I'll always remember that date, right? Walked in, and I'm like, right, so what do you want me to do here? And he's like, well, we've never really done any technical SEO, so I was hoping you could help me out with that. So I was like, all right, yeah. Have you got Screaming Frog? And he's like, what's that? And I'm like, no, come on, you've surely heard of Screaming Frog. Like, don't play around here. He's like, no, don't have Screaming Frog. So I was like, right, okay, so you need to buy me a license for Screaming Frog. Literally bought the license. He's never a guy that will like cheap out on tools. If he knows he needs a tool, he'll go out and buy it. And that's another really good thing about him. So I was like, right, okay, Screaming Frog, and he's like sat next to me, and I'm doing the Screaming Frog. It's probably all like hocus pocus to him at this point. So then I remember this one website they had, gambling affiliate, and the worst thing is it was making money as well. This website was making money. And it came back, I want to say it was like 600 pages, but had like 7,500 errors, like 404s, double 301s, 302s, pages that were like orphan pages, not linked to, pages that weren't even indexed. I'm like, we have a big task here, mate. And he's like, why? What do you mean? I'm like, just look at this. He's like, oh, well, what's a 404? So I was like, right, this is what a 404 is. This is how you fix it. And he's like, right, okay. But the one thing that I learned very quickly about James is like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the hell have I got myself into? The guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what Screaming Frog is. He's got 6,500 errors on his website, and it's only a 500-page website. Well, does he expect me to fix this? And he's like, no, we've got somebody to do that. He's like, I'm all for outsourcing, which I thought at the time, like, outsourcing was kind of like cheating. Like, I thought if you're coming with all these errors, you need to be the one that's fixing it. He's like, no, you don't dig the holes. I've got guys that'll dig the holes. You just tell them what to do. So very quickly, I got in the mindset of, right, I need to outsource. I need to do this. I need to do this. So yeah, he's been a major key to my success. And like what I mentioned before, like there was a lot of things that he was bad at, that I was good at, and there was a lot of things that I was bad at that he was good at. Like, for example, I've just said that he's an absolute idiot when it comes to technical SEO. He's actually really good at technical SEO now, right? To the point where, like, he'll be sending me screenshots of Screaming Frog audits that he's doing at like 2 a.m. I'm like, mate, just let me sleep. But so like that, a few things that I've learned from him is like the business side of stuff, like outsourcing. I was terrible at it. Running a team, like a team morale's massive. So yeah, just we've learned off each other.
Feels like as well, like you guys have to scale massively.
So again, like I've said this before on podcasts. I'm probably the only web developer that's went and built out 350, 400 websites. Obviously, he had a few hundred websites before he met me, but 300-400 websites that I haven't actually built. It's all SOP'd, so somebody in the office does it. I couldn't even tell you where to start because I set up that SOP 2-3 years ago, and I genuinely, if the guy in our office told me to go and build a website using my SOP that I done 2-3 years ago, I wouldn't know where to start. Like, don't know.
Yeah, it's mad.
Nice.
Mad.
Right. We've used a lot of your time. I'm very grateful for it, but we'll call it there. For now, you've got a couple minutes. Plug anything you want to plug, get it out to the world, and where can people find you and what can people buy from you?
You can find me at kasra-dash.com, searcheroo.com, backlinkdoctor.com, autoblogging.com. The list just goes on and on, but no, you check me out at kasra-dash.com. If you want to book in a call or whatever with me, you can do. And I'm trying to hit 10k subs by April, so let's try and make that happen. Hopefully I can do it.
There we go.
I've just subbed, man, so you got an extra one for me. Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Snake wasn't subbed before. What were you talking about here? You shouldn't have admitted to that one on the fucking call,
I
mate.
click through the videos he posts on Twitter, so I don't need to.
Yeah, that's true, to be fair.
Fair. All right, yeah. Cheers for coming on. We appreciate it, and yeah, we'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, man.
See you in a bit.